600 series Auger type headers daily service, when you're unhooking and rehooking your header from your machine, it'd be great if you took a little contact cleaner. Contact cleaner isn't as harsh for the seals in the 31 pin connector, and just rinse it so we don't have a lot of dirt from the road travel and leftover debris in there as we attach it to the combine. As you can see, the header and the combine already has some dirt on it. A little bit of contact cleaner to rinse that debris off, ensuring that our latch pins latched also to make sure our header is securely fastened. During the daily service walk around, at least several times during your harvest, I'd encourage you to put a little bit of grease on the spline or the splines of the drive shaft to allow this to have easy slip, especially on contour master feeder house machines. When we move that header left or right often, that extra, if it starts to bind or get tight, will be pulling in and out on these yokes and the reverser drive shaft and potentially cause a mechanical breakdown. During our daily walk around, one of the items we'd want to sure check is our belt tension with the gauge, and of course our chain tension, maintaining that. If we've been in a harvest day prior that had a hard, tough feeding crop, this chain is probably going to stretch and need adjustment daily. On the knife drive assembly, we have the lower actuator bearing that you can see at this point. Some of the actuators will have a zerk, a lubrication point right here for the bearing. And if you've got a newer style header from the factory, or you go to the parts department and pick up a new knife drive lower actuator assembly, it will not have the zerk on it. They're lube for life from the factory. Knife drive lubrication on the 600 series auger header, as you can see, we have a lubrication fitting right here. With that lubrication fitting, we'd want to grease that only when the header's warmed up and we've got the grease can flow through it a little easier, so we don't push this plastic end cap out of the knife drive. Also, to know how full it is, when you start seeing grease starting to come out behind the seals, the shaft seals of the pulley, then we know it's full, and we just want to maintain it at that point. You know, 4 to 5 pumps until you start to see it come out the shaft seals, and at that point maybe back off to 1 or 2 shots of grease a day would be adequate. During our daily service, I'd recommend checking across the width of the header a few locations to make sure that we're maintaining the air gap and not letting it get too thick. A business card thickness is plenty. 20 thousandths is what we're looking for. To adjust it, you simply use this screw in the back, and you can adjust it tighter or looser. And if you do not have enough adjustment or run out of adjustment, sometimes we have to loosen these, let the hold down relax, and then tighten this back down to adjust this screw. If we don't maintain that hold down air gap properly, it's going to cause excessive wear on our knife drive, and also our guards are going to dull sooner. Also, when I was doing the daily walk around, I would just observe if I've had a foreign object get into my header and break off some fingers or damage in the floor. I'd want to double check to see how much this rear floor of this stainless steel would lift up. If it lifts up more than a 1/4 inch or an 1/8 inch, I'd be concerned that when I was reversing a slug out, the fingers could catch the floor and peel it out. It's as simple as underneath there's a couple tabs that we just need to bend back up. This is the tab that we were talking about, and when the flex header bar is running up and down some days, it bends those tabs open, causing this to rise up. I'd encourage you to grease the reel bushings, as you can see at this lubrication point, and I would grease until I seen grease flushing out either end of the bushing. And we have this same lubrication point on the left hand side of the header as well as on the right hand side of the header.